Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today, we got a show for you guys here today. But before we even get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, my name is Charles Tabansi. My handle is CTABANZ. Also, make sure you follow Dreamerspro on Instagram. Same name as the channel. And check out the Dreamerspro podcast that we have pinned in the comment section below. So today, I actually thought we had nothing to discuss. I went through all of the news and I was like, bro, guys, I don't think we're going to have anything to discuss. So I was sitting there and something told me just jump back on YouTube, right? Searching for articles and all this stuff. You don't really find any news on YouTube. So I'm scrolling through, and then I see an episode of Undisputed, and then I click on it, and who do I see sitting in the studio? I see Paul Pierce, and I'm like, Paul Pierce is on Undisputed? I had no idea that Paul Pierce was going to be on Undisputed. Now, you guys know Skip Bayless has this thing where he has like a rotating panel, but I didn't know Paul Pierce was there. I knew Rachel Nichols was there. We even did a show about Rachel Nichols coming on the show, but I had no idea that Paul Pierce would be there. So when I saw him on there, I was very, very eager to see how he was going to cover the subject matter. Now, what's the subject matter? In this show, they were actually talking about the rumors surrounding James Harden possibly being traded to the Clippers. Now, for those of you who know, I'm supporting the Clippers this year. And when the news about James Harden surfaced about him possibly going to the Clippers, I was like, why in God's name would the Clippers want to have James Harden on their roster? Like, why would you want to have James Harden on your roster? Why would you want that? If you look at the Clippers roster, it is essentially an amalgamation of guards and forwards. They already have guards. They already have forwards. They already got a Russell Westbrook who's going to assist the ball. So I'm like, why would you bring this dude on your roster? This James Harden, I don't even know what to say about James Harden, right? James Harden is turning himself into the single biggest joke in the NBA, where he is losing respect by the day, not just from fans, but from his own peers. Everywhere you turn, you hear people talking about James Harden may be out of the league if he's not careful. So I was like, why the hell would the Clippers want James Harden? But nevertheless, we heard this, right? So this is what they were discussing. Now, usually when some NBA guys come on TV and they're talking sports, usually what they do is they go up there and they twerk it up all over the place, or they give bad takes. In this particular case, when it came time for Paul Pierce to talk about James Harden and to keep it 100, that is exactly what he did, and he absolutely demolished this dude. So what we want to do is we want to play exactly what Paul Pierce had to say about James Harden, and then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to that there.
All right, Paul, what do you think?
I really don't even see a perfect fit for James Harden. I mean, I know all the rumors have been going toward the Clippers, but let's say he does go to the Clippers. You got Westbrook over there, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. Is he willing to take a lesser role? Is he going to come off the bench? Does he start? He hasn't been there for training camp. Westbrook understands the system. He played well for him at the end of last year. And so is he willing to drop his ego, play a role? Otherwise, I don't see it even being a good fit for the Los Angeles Clippers, let alone any other team in the league.
Okay.
I like the fit. I like the fit with the Clippers. I just don't think.
But
they
does he come off the bench? Does he start?
No, he starts. Russ goes to the bench, which, you know, Russ has shown a little bit more willingness. Russ is turning 35 in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He understands where he is at this point in his career. He actually was very encouraging during training camp. Someone asked him, they kind of goading him, are you going to get back to your old self the way you were before you were at the Lakers?
I'll show you that in just a moment.
Great.
But the point is, I'm with Paul on this.
Really?
At some point, this league is going to say no to James Harden because he's 34 going on 44. He does not stay in great shape. And look, the best way I can sum up his career is he is obviously supremely gifted. As great a perimeter scorer when he was right as we've ever seen. But he has loser intangibles where when you need him the most, you trust him the least because he's flamed out in playoff after playoff after playoff. So what happened against your Celtics, Paul?
Home game, game 6.
Hey,
you got two opportunities to step up.
You've got it. You score 45 in game 1, then you come back with 42 in game 4, and I'm saying, oh, there he is. I picked the Sixers to win it all last year. I think, okay, they got it now. No, they don't got it, because in those 2 games, he completely and utterly disappeared, as we've seen repeatedly. So to me, the prospect of James Harden reuniting with Russell Westbrook back from their Oklahoma City days in the backcourt is double jeopardy, because I'm going to remind everybody, if you go back to 2016-17, James Harden was first in the league in turnovers and Russ was second. 2018, Russ won, James 2. 2019, James 1, Russ 2 in turnovers. It goes year after year. Trae Young took them over, and they finished 2 and 3 in 2020. Then Russ led in 2021. James was second in 22. These are the 2 highest turnover makers that we've probably ever seen as a duo in the history of this league. And remember, Russ, over the last 7 years, has shown you repeatedly he is the highest turnover plus worst three-point shooter we've ever seen in combination in the history of this league, because he's always at the very bottom of three-point shooting and at the very top in turnovers. So how can you put those 2 together? If you think Ty Lue needed a sabbatical back in the day when LeBron was there, he would need a mid-season sabbatical, because these 2 would hasten his retirement. Go ask
Russ is
Rachel.
more humble, though. But now I'm saying, like, how do you put the ball in James Harden's hand and take it out of Kawhi and Paul George's hand? How do you do that? They're not going to sit around and watch the James Harden show.
No.
He's going to have to come in and fill in a role. We're not going to sit here and watch him ISO at the top, run pick and roll, and wait in the corner on the ball. This is Kawhi's team. This is Paul George's team.
But he didn't do that last season in Philadelphia. He was able to play more of that team game. And I have faith in Ty Lue. I mean, that's your guy. Don't you think that if anyone can manage those personalities, it's Ty?
I don't know if anybody can manage James Harden's attitude, because the last 3 franchises we've seen him with, he's crippled these franchises. I mean, look at what happened in Houston. They're rebuilding. Same thing in Brooklyn, and we're going to see a rebuild real soon in Philadelphia, because if Embiid is not happy in the next year or 2, he's going to be out of there. And this is the James Harden effect that we're seeing everywhere he goes. Let him go to the Clippers, and the same thing is going to happen there in a couple years.
Yeah.
So you heard what Paul Pierce had to say. First of all, bravo to Paul Pierce. Bravo. That's how you do it. That is how you keep it 100. JJ Redick, take notes. This is how you go up there, and regardless of the fact of whether or not you're talking about an NBA player, you keep it 100, because you know that the primary reason you're on the air and we're even listening to you is for you to give your honest opinion. Not to give a slanted opinion, not to give opinion where I'm going to cover my NBA friends, to give an honest opinion on the things and how you see them. And that's what I absolutely loved about what Paul Pierce had to say. I 100% loved it, because I think Paul said it in a way where a lot of people would agree. A lot of people will agree. A lot of some other guys out there, if you give them a mic to basically sound off on that topic, they will take you around the corner. They'll take you over here. They'll take you over there. But Paul was like, no, I don't see it being a good fit. James Harden is not the dude for this team right now. And listening to Rachel Nichols, as I was listening to her, she was like, she sees how it could be a good fit. I'm like, how? How? Let's just talk about it. Forget about it from an X and O standpoint. Let's talk about it from a cultural standpoint. James Harden is one of these guys that will quit on a basketball team at the drop of a dime. James Harden is that same dude that was losing games in the playoffs and that very same night was seen in the club. How do you even have the enthusiasm to be around people dancing and smiling at a club after you just lost? I don't even understand it, but that's James Harden. And you want to bring a dude like James Harden into the Clippers locker room? So if the Clippers are in the playoffs and they suffer a bad loss, you think James Harden is going to be one of those dudes that's going to be fired up and like, yo, we got to figure it out? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. As far as the James Harden situation goes, I don't even understand it at this point. Let me give you guys an insight. And let's think about this logically. James Harden was, according to rumors, promised a max deal by Daryl Morey. which means that he was promised a lot of money. So money number one. Daryl Morey basically says, nah, kiddo, I don't think we can give you that money. James Harden then gets mad and says, I don't trust Daryl Morey anymore because the money he was supposed to give me, forget about his word. His word is connected to a thing. And in this particular case, he's talking about a promise, which was money. He's like, I'm not going to show up. I'm not going to show up. So James Harden now stops reporting to camp, could potentially find himself in a situation like Ben Simmons did a few years ago with Philly, where he ended up getting fined about $19 million. So James Harden says, you know what, because you're not going to give me that full money that I wanted, not that you won't give me money, not that you won't offer me a contract, it's just that you won't offer me what you promised me. You're not going to give me the money I wanted. I'm now not going to show up to work and risk losing more money. Hello? To quote Rob Parker, is this on? You're mad about money you didn't get, so you're going to pout and lose money, now which is going to even put you in a bigger hole, and then potentially put yourself in a situation where you could be out of the league after this year, where then you can get no more money. And this is the dude that the Clippers are considering having on their roster. I 100% agree with every single thing Paul Pierce said in terms of James Harden and the Clippers coming together. If he joined the Clippers, I would be worried. As someone that's going to support this team, I have to. Because I came this far, I got to support them now. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are going into year, 5 of their experiment. So we got to see it through now. And then you now want to throw James Harden into the mix? So what is he going to come off the bench? What if they tell him, James, you got to come off the bench? Then what happens? What do you think is going to happen? James will be like, but I'm going to do anything for the team. Really? Y'all really think a guy wanting a Supermax deal is going to want to come off the bench? And this is the dude that some people, when they hear these things, they just look at the name. Oh, James Harden. James Harden. Yeah, let's get him. It's like, no. You also got to look at the fit. That's the same mistake that the Lakers made 2 years ago. They were looking at Russell Westbrook. They're just looking at the name. It's Russell Westbrook. It's Russell Westbrook. It's Westbrook. You didn't look at the fit. So to me, number one, hell no to James Harden. That's number one. Number two, shout out to my dude, Paul Pierce. I don't know him, but I'm going to say my dude. My dude, Paul Pierce, for keeping it a buck. He didn't go up there. He didn't try to cover up for the fraternity and say all of this and say all of that, or trying to stop a black man's bag. He kept it 100, and I love that. And the beautiful thing about Paul is, James Harden gonna call him out and say, what? Son is a champion. Son is a finals MVP. Paul Pierce was a bad boy. So James can't just come out there and be talking spicy. Paul Pierce did things in the playoffs. Did James Harden? You let me know. So to me, I absolutely love it. I love the energy that he brought. He kept it 100, and I loved every single second of it. So what I want to know from you guys, number one, what do you think about what Paul Pierce had to say about James Harden potentially becoming a Clipper? And number two, what do you even think about James Harden possibly wanting to become a Clipper in terms of a chemistry standpoint? Number three, what do you think, what in the hell do you think is going to happen with James Harden moving forward in terms of his career? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts in the comments, and we catch you guys on the next show. Peace.